I feel very called to become a member of the Catholic Church.
Love the Catholic Church. It's just the best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, 205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Okay. I don't know if we're on the air or not. I don't hear Jack.
We are doing a Open Line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan, and we are having Barbara some technical problems, but we're working quickly.
Am I here?
Yes, you are.
There I am.
Welcome,
Now
Jack.
I hear you,
Very
Jack.
good. This is live radio, folks. Go right ahead.
Great.
Well, as Elena said, Line Wednesday, Tuesday rather. I don't even know what day it is now. With our host Barbara McGuigan, we're talking life issues today here on Open Line. If you've got a question for Barbara, the number is 1-800-585-9396. Toll North America, 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 205-271-2985. That's 205-271-2985. Or you can send us an email, openline@ewtn.com. I'm Jack Williams. Elena Rodriguez is producing the program, and your call screener is Mr. Matt Gabensky. Our hostess, she is every Tuesday, your pro-life Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Jack.
How are you?
I couldn't be better. How about you?
Terrific, thanks. It's Barbara Video Release Day, as it is every Tuesday.
My goodness, yes. The fourth video was, last Wednesday, I think
Right.
it came out. And now this morning, we have a fifth video. And I had the great joy. I attended the Napa Institute conference last week. And I'll tell you, Jack, I met David DeLayden. And he is the producer of all of these videos. But he was going to be older. On TV, when you see him, he appears older. He's just a young guy, Jack. He's just a young guy. And if I could kneel down on my silly knee, I said I told him I'd kneel down in front of him, not to worship and adore him. We only worship and adore God. But to respect for what this young man is doing right now. And we had a wonderful conversation. And I will certainly be bringing him on The Good Fight. And it's very humble. You can tell he does not glory in all the attention he's getting right now. I was really taken with him. He was so very kind and humble is all I can say. You could just see the goodness in him. And he took mine, and I said, David, I said, God is using you in a mighty, powerful way to bring down the sleaziest anti-life, anti-love, anti-God organization that is fast destroying the whole world. They're worldwide. And he got all teary-eyed. And he just said, I can't believe what he's trying to do with me. And so it was really a wonderful conversation, Jack, and I'm just so grateful. But, never mind that the Obama administration is aiming all guns on the Center for Medical Progress. That's David's organization. And never mind that Planned Parenthood likely violated the law decided on by the Supreme Court itself to prevent the brutal torture that Planned Parenthood likes to call a, quote, medical procedure. And never mind that Planned Parenthood likely violated the law by selling baby parts for profit. We all know this now. And we've known it in the past, too, those of us in the pro-life movement. And keep in mind, the blocked videos may prove that aborted babies were born alive before the organ harvesting. And that appears to be the worst political tyranny because the government, refuses to even investigate Planned Parenthood. So with all this documented information, another fifth video released this morning that is also unbelievably telling. Just yesterday, we weren't able to get this defunding of Planned Parenthood bill passed. 53 voted for life, 46 voted for death. And in all fairness, we had 2 Democrats vote for life, Donnelly in Indiana and Manchin in West Virginia. So altogether, we had 53 voting to defund Planned Parenthood and 46 voting for death. So I hope that the GOP won't stop. I'd like to just talk a little bit about the 5th video, if that's okay, Jack. What do you think?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. The 5th video was just released a couple of hours ago. Melissa Farrell, the director of research for Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, this time, is featured on this latest release. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, again, called for an investigation into Planned Parenthood on the first video. Said the latest video showing Planned Parenthood's treatment of unborn children in a Houston clinic is repulsive and unconscionable. Selling baby body parts is the furthest thing imaginable from providing women's health care, and this organization's repeated and systematic disrespect for human life is appalling. But as I mentioned earlier, CMP, that is David's group, they have been trying to work around 2 restraining orders by federal judges banning them from releasing some of their recordings. I asked him about that, and I said, can you get around this? And he said, we're trying to do that. But the National Abortion Federation and STEM Express both have filed restraining orders against him and his organization. But, and do you want to know why?
Why?
Because this is amazing. He believes that the blocked videos may prove aborted babies were born alive before organ harvesting. And that's why they're trying to block the release of these videos. So, but in this lab, it's not completely. I wasn't able to watch it completely, but this Melissa Farrell, the director of research for Planned Parenthood, he's going to the top when he does all these videos. Farrell and 2 unidentified Planned Parenthood workers demonstrate, quote, the quality of fetal body parts, including intact arm, intestines, and eyeballs. And when one of the undercover investigators asked to see any intact specimens, one of the unidentified female workers began to laugh. And she said, we had a really long day and they're all mixed up together in a bag. So the bottom line of that video was a CMP wanted to ask them if they could, get their specimens intact. That was an important thing because they would have to alter the way where they normally do abortion. And so Melissa Farrell said, if we alter our process and we are able to obtain intact fetal cadavers, then we can make it part of the budget. Now, altering abortion procedures to procure fetal tissue, delivering and selling fetal tissue for profit are all against federal law. So what does this gal say? Well, as you know, when it matters, in the cases of when it's mattered, physicians also need an intact specimen that can make it happen. They can make it happen. They will do that. So they do it in a way that they get the best specimen, she said. So I know it can happen.
Well, and she also commented that a physician working at that clinic does his own research and has actually altered the procedure to harvest what he wanted in the past.
Yes.
And they did actually, Barbara, towards the end of that video, they did find intact the doctor that was there with the worker actually found a 20-week gestation aborted baby that was from early in the day that was probably nearly frozen, and they put some aqueous solution on it to thaw it out a little bit, and it was not a pleasant thing to watch by any stretch of the imagination. And I think one thing we can say for sure, Planned Parenthood has told us on these videos that they've broken the law. Now, whether we can document that, that's another story. but their admission and the admission of the people in these videos are clearly what they said they've done is in violation of the law, clearly. Now, whether we can, whether it can be proved that they actually did the things that they said they did, probably another story.
I will not hold hope out that they can get to the bottom of this. Actually, I think in time, all of these videos have definitely served a purpose, and that is that many people that were very conveniently, they will always call themselves that, are starting to say, wait a minute, this is really Hitlerian, this is grisly stuff. We had no idea that Planned Parenthood was this sort of thing. And so I think in time it's really going to hurt them big time. But I was very disappointed, about the vote yesterday. But they didn't expect it to pass. So I guess they know that, 53, if they could just get, 7 more votes, they needed 60. Is all they needed was 60. So I don't know what to tell you. It was discouraging to know that, but I think in time we're going to get there. We're certainly closer, that's for sure.
If you've got a question or comment for Barbara McGuigan, the number's 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 205-271-2985, and we'll put you straight to the front of the line. Open line, Barbara McGuigan.
Morning Glory with Brian Patrick, Catholic from the start.
It's Christ-centered conversation, family talk, the day's top stories, and one-on-one interviews with people from all walks of life. Catholic from the start, fast-paced and fun every morning.
Morning Glory with Brian Patrick, Catholic from the start. Beginning Tuesday, September 8th at 7 a.m. Eastern. Streaming online and heard worldwide on EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Podcasts of Open Line are available within 24 hours of live broadcast. Go to EWTN.com and click on Multimedia.
60 Seconds with Mother Angelica.
Are you and I a friend of Jesus? That's the important one. See? He will never let you down. He will always be forgiving and merciful and compassionate. You can't say that of any friend. So I have a wonderful friend for 40 years. Wonderful. I think that's a big grace. Scripture says, if you have found such a one, praise God. But ordinarily, you can't say that you would tell your very heart to that one. To some, it would be like putting it in the newspaper. Be all over town, half hour. Where you wouldn't talk to a friend like that. But with Jesus, you can talk to any friend. To him as the best of friends.
People you know and trust are on EWTN.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
EWTN programming is heard on great stations like 92.7 FM in Susanville, California, 102.5 FM in Mattoon, Illinois, and 91.9 FM in Terre Haute, Indiana. Barbara, you ready to head to the phones?
I sure am, Jack.
Ray is in Newberry, Florida, listening on Sirius XM Channel 130. Ray, what's your question today for Barbara?
Hi, Ray.
Barbara, I want to commend you on your work in fighting this satanic procedure. My question to you is, how do I find a list of the Republicans who had voted for abortions?
You know what? That is a good question. I'm sure I have it in front of me because it was sent to me, and it just says on here grouped by vote position. But if you want to email me at openline@ewtn.com, I can give you the link. I was looking for it during the break, but I get so many emails I wasn't able to pigeonhole this. What I did was just copied and pasted it. So that's what I'm looking at now. But all of the Republicans, of course, except for, which surprised me, I'm not quite sure what the reason is behind this, but it looks like Lindsey Graham did not vote at all. He's the rep from South Carolina, so a Republican from South Carolina, rather. But yeah, that was surprising to me. But then there are the two Democrats, Donnelly from Indiana and West Virginia, who voted for life. So we only needed 7 more, is all we needed to make the 60. But if you just email me, Ray, I'll be happy to give you the link that I have to this as soon as I find it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate the phone call. That opens up a line for you at 1-800-585-9396. Next up is Alice, state of Ohio. Alice, what's your question today for Barbara?
Hi,
Yes.
Alice.
Hi, Barbara. I'm calling just to ask you, how many children have you adopted from women that can't take care of a baby they might be expecting?
How many children have I?
Yes.
I would have 6 of my own, but I would love to. I mean, but there are so many people, Alice, on our adoption lists who can't have children. As a matter of fact, it is so difficult to get a baby now because that's why people were turning to China, even Russia. I have friends who have gone to China to adopt a baby, to Russia to adopt children. But because of all the abortion, there just aren't the children to be had. Those in foster care are often adopted by the foster parents. I know parents who have done that as well. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yes?
That you all would be willing to take on a child.
Sure. If we were in the situation, I have 4 children of my own, and I would have 6. I lost 2 in miscarriage, so I would have 6 children. But I know many, many couples who are on adoption lists now even. As a matter of fact, we have over 4,000 crisis pregnancy centers in the United States, Alice, and each one of these crisis pregnancy centers usually has a list. They have a dossier on the different individual couples who want to adopt. But many of the young teenage girls who become pregnant want to keep their babies. Some, they have plenty of help in order to do this, support from their families, but some just, want to keep their babies. So it's not as easy as one thinks to adopt a baby. Are you interested in adopting a baby?
Well, certainly, and I would hope that so many people would be that are criticizing girls that you think should have babies they're unable to have and to take care of.
Well, the thing is, they don't have to. They don't have to take care of their babies for the rest of it. They just have to bring the baby to life and deliver the baby. And then there are plenty of people that will be more than happy to adopt their babies. We never have that problem, ever, finding someone to adopt a child. It's like I say, they're young, they want to be loved, and so they decide very often to keep their babies. We even have people, Alice, that are on lists for babies that are disabled in some way. We actually have a list in I think it's based in Washington, D.C., where they only will adopt babies who have Down syndrome. Did you know that? Whoops.
We've lost Alice. Thanks so much,
we
Alice.
lost Alice.
Yeah, for
thanks,
that phone
Alice.
call. We'll head now to Atlanta, Georgia. Phil is listening on Sirius XM Channel 130. Phil, thanks for calling. What's your question for Barbara?
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for your show. One of the things I've been thinking about, we're talking about these things, and I'm obviously pro-life, but I'm also pro a lot of other things. We have 3 branches of government that, we learn in school. It's the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch.
Right.
The legislature makes the law. The judicial branch determines the legality of whether it's against the Constitution or not, which they have not been doing a very good job of lately.
For sure.
And then the executive branch is supposed to enforce the laws. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me that our executive branch, our president, has not been enforcing the laws, and I think that perhaps it is time to bring up impeachment again. And I realize that it'd be very difficult to do, but I think we should have the world drawn to the attention of the fact that we're unhappy with the way he's performing his job in the sense of upholding the laws. So that's my comment.
Good comment. And Alan Keyes has really been behind that push to begin impeachment. But as you said, Phil, I don't know that they would get the votes. I mean, you really have to have a majority for sure. And I mean, look, we can't even stop these barbarians from collecting and selling aborted baby body parts. So, I mean, I just don't know. We can't even stop that in this country. Barbarism, Hitlerian activity. We can't even stop that. We are 7 votes short. Were you shocked by that, Phil, as I was?
Absolutely. I'm shocked by what's going on, but the fact of the matter is we're becoming more and more secularized.
Sure.
The respect for life is just not there in many areas, unfortunately, or we wouldn't have these laws, these actions that are going on. And why are we sending money at all to Planned Parenthood?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, $528 million a year of taxpayer money. Just taxpayer money that they get from us. It's unbelievable what is taking place. And I'm
not against the fact of supporting pregnant women and pregnancy clinics, but I am against taking the life away from a woman and not just taking the life away from, to taking the life away from the world. All these babies that are aborted, who knows what they would have turned out to be? Who knows?
Well, you're making an excellent point. You're making an excellent point. How many professions, how many lawyers, farmers, parents, for Pete's sake. I mean, how many? And even if the person is on the corner on 5th and Vine holding a can out, a poor homeless person is holding, that person's life has value. And the fact that if you pass that person and you are able to help him with money or whatever in any way, you might be touching the face of God because of this man, because of this poor man. Every life has value. But I want to back up a bit, Phil, about what you said about you're all for women's health care and things like that. There are plenty of clinics, plenty of organizations besides Planned who will tend to Pap screens and ultrasounds. I know of fleets, the Light and Life Foundation for the Knights of Columbus. They're all over. They send out mobile units, trucks fitted with ultrasound equipment for free. There are plenty of places where women can go to get this kind of help. And when I hear people say, not you, Phil, because you didn't say that, when I hear people say, oh, but wait a minute, Planned Parenthood does so many good things for women, like free health care and Pap screens and free birth control pills sometimes and ultrasounds. Do ultrasounds, they lied and said they did, but you can't do an ultrasound without an ultrasound machine, right? But think about it this way. That's like saying the Ku Klux Klan gives lunches to the homeless. So let's rally around the Ku Klux Klan for the good that they do. See, this is how the devil works. Phil, my brother, my sisters out there, the devil could never sell sin as sin. He's got to make it look good, including evil organizations. You don't pray for evil organization for what they do to cover up their atrocities. We can't be tricked by this deception. This is the devil personified. It's how he works. This is precisely how he works. Oh, let's throw in a little good. You go to a movie and you think it's a wonderful movie and they'll have this gratuitous sex scene in there. Why? Who knows? But they have to get the devil in there too, see, to appeal to all those people who expect that sort of garbage. Don't be fooled.
Thanks so much, Phil. Appreciate the phone call. We're just getting started on an open line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan. Straight ahead, we'll talk to Rich in Houston, Lee's in Silver Springs, Maryland, Jim in Ohio, John in Ohio, and we've got a line open for you at 1-800-585-9396, toll free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585-9396. You can send us an email also, openline@EWTN.com. Our pro-life warrior Barbara McGuigan's in the house on an Open Line Tuesday.
Anna Mitchell here, and I hope you'll join me for the Wednesday edition of the Sunrise Morning Show. Was there a crypto Anglican Jamestown? Stephanie Mann joins us from Bible to discuss. Plus, Gary Zimak from FollowingTheTruth.com shares another Bible verse to ease anxiety.
The Sunrise Morning Show. Better way to start your day.
This is the Pope Paul VI Institute Minute with Dr. Tom Hilgers.
Invest with long-term follow-up. Just seconds couples who use the Crate Model system to make an important investment in their future. People are wise in making investments for their future when they save money, become educated, and exercise. Learning the Crate Model fertility care system is one of the most important investments that, with proper instruction, women or couples can make for their gynecologic and reproductive health. Crate Model charts give women extraordinarily valuable information for monitoring gynecologic and reproductive health and give couples a highly effective means for achieving and avoiding pregnancy. Discover the Crate Model fertility care system. Dr. Tom Hilgers.
For a complimentary gift and more information on the Pope Paul VI Institute, log on to www.popepaul6, that's Roman numeral 6.com.
I am Father Thomas Loya, and this week on Light of the East on EWTN, the celebration of the Feast of the Assumption, or in other words, the Dormition of the Mother of God, is a sterling example of how both lungs of the Church, although distinct in their identities, breathe together. This is also a feast of profound relevancy for the modern world. On EWTN, Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Making a difference. EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, 205-271-2985. Or send an email to openline@EWTN.com.
Tonight on Mother Angelica Live Classics, the topic is silence of heart and mind. And Mother will talk about that tonight, 8 Eastern on EWTN television. Tomorrow night on EWTN Live, Father Mitch welcomes brother Dan Korn, who will talk about the celebration of the 150th anniversary generation and presentation of the icon Our Mother of Perpetual Help. That's tomorrow, 8 Eastern on EWTN television. Back to the phones we go. Richard's in Houston, Texas, listening on AM 14. Richard, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Richard.
Hello, Barbara. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How about you, good man?
Well, I'm doing okay.
Great. What can I do for you?
Here in Houston, Texas, I have a comment more than a question. And I drive by the abortion clinic, Parenthood, almost every day off of I-45 in South Houston, and it's a massive structure.
Yes.
What we seem to have here is it's been raised a lot, and I appreciate your program for doing this. Is that Planned Parenthood is a business.
Sure.
It's a baby part. And although that we hear a lot about the atrocity of Planned Parenthood, why do we not address who's actually purchasing these baby parts and bring it to light and bring these people also accountable for what they're doing? Planned Parenthood evidently would slow it down immensely if they did not have the revenue associated with the sales. So we need to pursue who's actually buying these fetuses.
Oh, that's a very good point. That is a very good point, Richard.
And I would point out there are 10 more videos to come.
There are 10 more. Actually, I did. I asked him, I said, how are you going to be able to get around the restraining orders? He said, we have 8 to 10 more that would not, violate the restraining orders that they already have. So,
Barbara,
but I hear what you're saying.
And I have one other comment: is that these precious lives, and I heard you say they're mixed together into a just
bag.
almost
Yep.
like a butcher shop, into a bag.
Yep.
Has anybody ever followed exactly where the actual resting place are they at? Where do they end up? Where do they go?
Oh, they're too smart for that. They're too smart for that, Richard. They have actual garbage disposals built into these abortion clinics that will grind up. They just dump them. We've had people do what they call dumpster diving for babies. Or they would have them all in individual plastic bags along with the woman's records. And we've got all kinds of goods on these people, I'm telling you. But they also have garbage disposals for this kind of thing, because then they wised up when they saw when they throw them in the dumpster behind the clinic, people can get in and get them.
Yeah. Well, I'll close on this. Is there any way that we can find who's actually making the purchases of these?
Well, that would be the companies, the research companies, like STEM Express. I mean, that's why STEM Express filed a restraining order, because they know what could be exposed here. And but you're right. I mean, I guess there would be people who would know all of the research.
That's kind of what I was getting at when I mentioned there are 10 more videos. We may see some of that information in the forthcoming videos.
That could be. That could be. But you make a good point, and you are a good businessman, I can tell, because you're thinking outside the box, trying to, target this. And
I appreciate it, and I thank you for this.
God bless you.
This is where we need to put the pressure, is on the economic end of this. The political end of it also. But we need to hit it from both fronts, the economic end and the political end.
That's right. But don't you think, Richard, that we funded them yesterday, or at least got the ball rolling to do that?
Most definitely. And if the government's not going to defund it, then you need to put enough political pressure on who's actually purchasing these parts. And I'm talking about bring it to life, bring it to commercials, put funding behind it, let people know who's actually purchasing these baby parts, and bring accountability to those corporations, bring accountability to the board of directors of those corporations. Bring accountability to that corporation and bring it to light to let the general public know what they are actually doing.
Yeah, very good point. And it should be able to be done, I would think, because they're for profit. So I mean, they should be listed. Even nonprofits would be listed. So, okay,
well,
Richard.
Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for listening, Richard. God bless you, good man.
Bye-bye.
Next stop for us is Ohio. John, listening on AM 1060. John, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, John.
Thanks for taking my call. The woman was on earlier asking who was going to adopt these babies. If you take the $582 million and you divide that over 330 million United States citizens, just for 1 year that they give to Planned Parenthood, the United States government could give each citizen $1.7 million. And that would still leave the $500,000 of Planned Parenthood income for them to slaughter their babies. But then talking about this political solution that did not come true, we've had that Body Worlds exhibit where they have the Chinese political prisoners' bodies on display at museums, and citizens are going and paying money. We need a lot more prayer and fasting. We're seeing a lot of more pagan influence, and I think our culture has changed over the past 20 years to where, even this scandal may not be a major scandal in the society.
Well, that makes it an even sicker society, does it not?
It does.
I mean, I really, these videos are so disgusting when you think that people are defending Planned Parenthood. A whole party is defending Planned Parenthood. Something is radically wrong, and God will not be mocked. He will not be mocked. These are children made in His image and likeness. When we defend life, we are defending the Lord and giver of life. So this is serious business, what people are doing. You know what I think? I really think we all better get to confession. We all better make sure our families, anyone in our sphere of ready to go. Because honest to Pete, when I see these one after another, these videos coming out, and people are defending them, I can't even believe my eyes seeing.
Thanks so much, John. Appreciate that phone call. We'll stay in Ohio, this time Cincinnati. Jim, listening on Sacred Heart Radio, AM 740. Jim, you're on with Barbara.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Barbara. Thanks for your work.
Thanks for calling in. All glory goes to God. You know that.
Well, you're stepping out there. I'm 67, Baltimore Catechism Catholic. Yeah, I met my wife at McNicholas in Cincinnati, and we actually did practice contraception. But because of my early learning and my belief in the existence of something you don't hear about anymore, which is hell and the devil,
Amen.
we both went to confession and are forgiven. And I think
God,
until,
of course.
yeah, but you know, we can criticize the government, we can criticize senators, but until an individual is motivated to not participating in abortion, or if they have, to ask for forgiveness because of the fear of hell, I don't think things are going to happen. And that's one of the things that we don't hear about anymore. We used to hear about the existence of hell and the devil. And, of course, St. Michael and Christ is stronger. But I think society in general and the world needs to be aware of what is going to happen at the end. Do you agree?
I completely agree. I completely agree with you, Jim. It's so all pervasive now what is happening in this very sick culture, and what can we do? But you know, it depends on where you go to Mass, because at my church we say the St. Michael prayer at the end of Mass. We are very much aware of hell, and of course you look at the Divine Mercy, St. Faustina. You know, I was just at a conference, and St. John Vianney, De Philippus, what's his name of his first name? He's an incredible actor. He put on his one-man play called Vianney.
It's Dino De Philippus.
Okay.
Leonardo De Philippus.
Leonardo, yeah, I was going to say, Leonardo De Philippus. He is.
Those close to him call him Dino.
You were very close, and that was good. His conversation with him this past week, but. St. John Vianney, he got up and cried in the pulpit. He cried. He said, you people are lost because, see, as St. Augustine said, sin weakens the will and darkens the intellect.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a play, and I think the media can be used to wake people up about the existence and their action. They're going to be held accountable. And locally, there's a pro-life suspense novel that is starting to circulate. And I think that if you have books and maybe one day a movie, you remember The Exorcist?
Oh, sure did. I didn't see the movie, though. I couldn't see the movie.
I think, bring people back to Christ and
look at the Passion of the Christ. Look at the Passion of the Christ, Jim. That really brought people to their knees, to their knees. Especially the scourging at the pillar, because that's the scourging. Many of the saints and fathers have said that the scourging was for sins of the flesh, the scourging at the pillar.
They were for my sins too, but thank God there's confession.
We're all sinners, and no sin is too great for God to forgive. No person is out of the realm of God's forgiveness either. And this is why the divine mercy has got to be taught, and we've got to teach people about all these things. And, Jim, I'm glad you're listening to Catholic Radio. And, hey, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, too. Did you know that, Jim?
Mount St. Joseph, I think.
Yes. Born and raised there, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And Mount St. Joe is where I went to college, until we transferred out here to California,
Well, I think I'm much older than you. I'm 67.
That's classified information for me.
Well, thank you for your ministry. I'll hang up now.
God bless you, Jim. Thanks
Appreciate the
for calling.
phone call, Jim. That opens up a line for you at 1-800-585-9396. Toll free anywhere in North America, 1-800-585. That's the number Kathy used in Denver, Colorado. She's listening on Denver Catholic Radio, AM 1060. Kathy, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi,
Hello.
Kathy. Hi there. How can we help?
Well, you are just talking about an issue that in my heart for really since Obama first ran for election. I ended up getting on the Priest for Life website and reading about what was been going on. And I was thinking that, when you go to the doctor, you need to have a procedure done, that you're given all of your options.
That's right.
They explain what you're going to do, and if you decide to go through with the procedure, they give you the detailed information about it.
They have
and like that man said before, Planned Parenthood is a business. And they've had people in the clinics, when they go in, the women are discouraged from taking their baby to term and not given all their options.
Right.
I think with this body parts, you can't, if somebody were to die, they can't take your body parts unless you've authorized them to do that in advance. So, right now,
you're making a very good
the law.
point. You're making a very good point, Kathy. You know, I got an email, kind of an nasty email about the fact that, you know, they are using these body parts for research, for science. They're curing diseases with these body parts. Look at people who have it on their driver's license. Hello, they have given permission for their body parts to be taken when they die. But this little unborn baby cannot speak. It cannot say, I have a life, I want to live. We have to be their voice. You're bringing up a very important point. They didn't give their consent to be chopped up into pieces and then their body parts sold. They did not give permission for that.
This is my body and not a separate human being.
Exactly.
Then they shouldn't be allowed to take it. And, you know, I just wanted to throw in, I am so agree that the devil is alive and well in, I went to the University of Notre Dame, and he is alive and well at my university, and he is alive and well in our government, in our Catholic representatives and senators. And, you know, the prayer cannot be, we can't do this because, I'm like you. We need people standing at the gates and pounding on the gates to overcome the foothold that the devil has. And I just want to kind of leave a thought. Mother Teresa, when she accepted the Nobel Peace Prize, said this greatest destroyer of peace is that a woman should destroy her own child.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Anyway, so I'm so glad that the work you're doing, and encourage everybody to keep praying and keep making, you know, educating their children and their friends and things like that.
Right. Kathy, you're a dear heart, and I thank you for listening, for calling. You're my little sister in Christ, and I'm grateful to know you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. Angelo, Texas. Charla, listening on Guadalupe Radio, FM 91.5. Charla, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Charla.
Hello. Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Great, thanks, dear heart. What can we do for you?
I just wanted to call and thank you for everything that you do. I was adopted in 1963, and so I really promote adoption. And
Praise God.
Not only was I adopted, but my cousin was adopted a year ago, and my aunt was adopted 20 years before that. And I always tell people, if we had, if abortion had been an option, none of us might be here. And I think of our children and our grandchildren, and it just is heartbreaking to think of all the lives that have been lost because abortion was made legal.
You're making a good point. That is absolutely correct. And it really, when you think about it, I just met someone who actually she was on the Good Fight with me, and when she found out at age 7 that she was adopted, she felt completely rejected by her mother and father. And her biological mother, they were 17 years old when they became pregnant with her, when the mom became pregnant. And but I said to her, but you know what? That was such an unselfish act on your mother's part, because you easily could have been aborted. Abortion was legal, and your mother at 17, I'm sure she would have had more than a few people to tell her that's what she should do, right? But she gave you life. It is the most unselfish act that especially a young woman, right? So y'all are here is a beautiful thing due to your unselfish mothers.
That's right. And I always tell people, I said, because people met your birth mother, and I haven't, but I always say that I'm thankful, that she chose adoption for me when she knew that she could not take care of me. I was blessed, adopted into a wonderful family, and I pray that she is happy, and I pray that she is healthy, and I pray that she knows that she did good, you know?
That's right.
And I just, I help with the 40 Days for Life campaigns, and I have a pro-life website, a pro-life blog, and I would just, there are so many people who want children who cannot have them. Right. And it is impossible to adopt most because there are no babies out there because everyone chooses, not everyone, but so many people choose abortion. And, you know, I just think of all the little lives that have been lost because of horrific law. Yeah. And it is, I believe it is a Holocaust. I believe that abortion is a Holocaust.
You're right.
And I just, you know, I always say adoption is a life option. You know, choose adoption.
Amen.
So
I agree with you.
I just wanted to share that.
Well, I'm glad you did, Charlotte. Thank you, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I am too. Listen, God bless you, and you just keep doing what you're doing. You're an awesome person.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you
do
so
my
much.
best. Glory to God.
Thanks, Charlotte. Appreciate the phone call. Now, Joe in Nebraska. Joe, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fine. I was just going to make the comment. I wonder how many of the senators that voted against this Planned Parenthood,
right, defunding Planned
voted,
Parenthood,
you know, not to pass, call themselves Catholics or Christians. Because apparently they are not God-fearing men.
Nope. I would agree with you. Because even to vote along party lines for something like this, I mean, give me a break. It is so terrible to think that they would stick with the party for that. But you know what? I was told that, I get this partially, I was told that there were 14, at least 14, I think that number is close to correct, if not correct, of Catholic Democrats who were pro-life. And I always kind of touted them as being, you know, they're blooming where they're planted, basically, you know, and how many people they can influence to share the pro-life message too. So I don't know. I'm stunned. I was stunned by it, really stunned. And you're right.
I mean, a state where my senator voted not to defund these Planned Parenthood, that I would be on the telephone and calling everybody I knew to be on the telephone to call them up and say you will not be reelected.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's what should happen. That's what should happen now. Now we know. Now we know who voted to defund this on this topic. Please. I mean, abortion is grisly enough to try to defund them for that. But for what they're doing, collecting and selling baby body parts and intact, oh my goodness. It just chills the blood. It chills the blood.
Thanks so much for that phone call, Joe, there in Nebraska. Keep up the good fight. Next stop for us is Northern Colorado. Matthew, listening on EWTN.com. Matthew, thanks for waiting. You're on with Barbara.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello. So I wanted to ask, I believe the Catholic Catechism, an illicit action cannot be justified by, can you lie in order to stop an evil? Can you do an evil to prevent an evil?
Okay, I think it would be the motive behind it in a time of war. And if you don't think this is war on the unborn, we are in a time of war. And I think that in war times, you can investigate, you can do undercover things in order to defund your enemies or seek out where your enemies' weapons are. And now, not to say that you can, kill another human person in doing this. It's just war theory. But you have to make sure you go by this criteria. But you know what? It's funny you would call, Matthew. I'm glad you did, because I just received an email at 10:48. Okay, my time. But it's about animals. A judge, U.S. Chief Judge B. Lynn Windmill of the District of Idaho, swept away the state's ban on like undercover targeting activists or journalists who might be critical of factory farm practices. And so the effect of the statute will be to suppress speech by undercover investigators and whistleblowers concerning topics of great public importance: the safety of the public food supply, the safety of agricultural workers, the treatment and health of farm animals, and the impact of business activities on the environment. So the judge said that the facts show the state's purpose in enacting the statute was to protect industrial animal agriculture by silencing its critics. So, they're all about protecting the animals, and yes, I would be too. But what about the humans? What about the humans? So, I mean, I guess you can, according to what this judge is saying, that you can protect the animals, by examining the plants where the cows are slaughtered and all that sort of thing. So, if they're doing inhumane practices, well, what about these inhumane, barbaric practices that are happening on our little unborn babies?
So you met Daniel, the
Yes,
guy
I
who
did
was
this last
partially
week.
responsible for the videos. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask a second question. Is there time for me to do that?
Very quickly.
Did you know any of him? Did he go in on a fishing expedition to see what he could find, or did he have some kind of input that they were doing these selling baby
You know
parts?
what? I will find that out when he's on The Good Fight. But no, I didn't have that much time to spend with him. But those are all questions I will ask him, Matthew. I appreciate you calling. Good
Very
night.
insightful call, Matthew. We appreciate the phone call today, and show as we would have expected, and I'm guessing that the Tuesdays to follow are probably going to yield the same result.
I think so.
Well, Barbara,
God bless
thanks
you.
so much for as always, your time here and for all that you do for the pro-life movement, and we'll see you again next week.
That's for sure. Right back at you, though, Jack. Right back at you.
On behalf of our host, Barbara McGuigan, our producer, Elena Rodriguez, and our call screener, Mr. Matt Kubinski, I'm Jack Williams. Thanking you once again for tuning in. Back at it again tomorrow, Open Line Wednesday with everybody's favorite, Father Mitch Pacwa. Until we get together tomorrow, God bless.